Most people will never change. Not because they can't. Not because life is unfair. Not because they didn't have the right opportunities. But because they never learned how to control themselves. They never learned discipline. And without discipline, every goal you set is just a wish. Every plan you make is just a fantasy. Every version of yourself you dream about at night stays exactly where it is, in your imagination. I know that sounds harsh, but I'd rather be honest with you for 20 minutes than comfortable with you for a lifetime. Because here's the thing, somewhere inside you, you already know this. You felt it. That quiet frustration when you break a promise to yourself. That heaviness when Sunday night comes and the week passed and nothing changed. That anger at yourself when you look in the mirror and realize you're still the same person you were a year ago. That feeling has a name. It's the cost of undisciplined living. And today, we're going to talk about how to stop paying it. I'm going to give you 7 rules. Not 7 tips. Not 7 hacks. 7 brutal, honest, uncomfortable rules of self-discipline that will challenge the way you think about yourself, your time, and your future. These rules are not easy. They're not supposed to be. Discipline is not easy. That's the entire point. But if you can internalize even a few of these, truly internalize them, not just nod along and forget by tomorrow, your life will look different in 6 months. Not magically different, deliberately different. Because you made it that way. We're getting closer to 1K subscribers. Party popper. If you've been enjoying the content, please subscribe and help us reach this milestone soon. Your support truly means a lot. Rule number 1. Stop waiting for motivation. It is never coming. I want you to think about the last time you said, I just don't feel motivated. Maybe it was this morning. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it's been the last 3 months. You had something important to do, work out, study, start a project, finish something you promised yourself, and you sat there, waiting for some feeling to arrive that would make it easier to begin. Here's what I need you to understand. That feeling you're waiting for? It is not coming first. It never does. Motivation is not a starting point. It is a result. You have the entire equation backwards. You have been sitting at the finish line waiting for a race that started without you. Think about this. When was the last time you waited to feel motivated before brushing your teeth? Never, right? You just do it. You don't wait for a spark of excitement about dental hygiene. You don't create a vision board about flossing. You just do it because it's non-negotiable. And that's exactly how discipline works. You make the decision non-negotiable. You remove the option of not doing it. And then you do it, whether you feel like it or not. I used to be someone who waited. I had big goals, big plans, a long list of things I wanted to accomplish. And every single day I would wake up, assess my mood, decide I wasn't feeling it, and do nothing. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. And I sat there wondering why nothing in my life was changing, while I was sitting around waiting for a feeling that was never going to show up on its own. The moment everything shifted for me was when I understood one simple truth. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. You start, even badly, even reluctantly, even with zero enthusiasm, and within minutes, something shifts. Your brain gets engaged. Your body gets warm. A tiny bit of momentum builds. And suddenly, you're doing the thing you couldn't bring yourself to start. This is backed by real psychology. Researchers call it the action motivation loop. You don't get motivated and then act. You act, and then motivation follows. Every single time, without exception. And the deeper problem with waiting for motivation is what it does to your relationship with yourself over time. Every time you wait and nothing gets done, you reinforce a story. The story that you're someone who doesn't follow through. The story that your goals are aspirational at best. The story that tomorrow is always a better day than today. And that story becomes your identity. You stop believing you're capable of discipline because you've given yourself so much evidence to the contrary. The way to break that is to stop asking whether you feel like doing something and start asking whether you committed to doing something. Those are 2 completely different questions. One puts your feelings in charge. The other puts your word in charge. And I'll tell you right now, your feelings will betray you constantly. Your word, if you protect it, will hold. So the practical side of this. The very next time you don't feel like doing something important, give yourself one rule. You do it for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. You open the textbook. You put on the shoes. You open the document. You pick up the weight. Just 2 minutes of actually doing the thing. Because here is what will happen 90% of the time. You will keep going. The hardest part was always starting. Once you're in motion, staying in motion is easy. Friction only exists at the beginning. And when you find yourself making excuses, and you will, because we all do, I want you to catch yourself and say out loud, I don't need to feel ready. I just need to start. Say it. Hear yourself say it. And then start. Stop asking yourself if you feel motivated. Start asking yourself if you made a commitment. Because commitments don't wait for feelings. Commitments get done regardless. Rule number 2. Discomfort is not your enemy. Comfort is. Picture this. It's 9 o'clock at night. You have work to do. Important work. A project, an assignment, a business task that actually matters. And your brain starts sending you signals. You're tired. You deserve a break. You worked hard today. You can do it tomorrow. And next thing you know, you're on the couch, screen in hand, watching something you don't even care about, telling yourself you'll be more productive tomorrow. Tomorrow comes. Same story, different show. This is what comfort addiction looks like. And I'm not using the word addiction lightly. Your brain genuinely becomes hooked on easy stimulation. Scrolling, snacking, lounging, anything that delivers a small reward with zero effort. And over time, your tolerance for discomfort drops, so low that even slightly hard tasks feel unbearable. You sit down to study, and your brain screams after 4 minutes. You try to have a difficult conversation, and you panic and back out. You try to do anything that requires sustained effort, and your whole system rebels. And here is the brutal truth about that. Every moment you choose comfort over effort, you are not just wasting time. You are actively weakening yourself. You are making it harder to do hard things tomorrow. You are lowering your baseline. You are training yourself to be someone who cannot handle difficulty. And life, real life, the kind with goals and relationships and ambitions, is full of difficulty. So if you can't handle discomfort, life wins. Every time, think about every meaningful thing you want. A healthier body, a better career, financial security, a strong relationship, real confidence. Every single one of those things requires you to consistently do things that are uncomfortable. Hard conversations, hard workouts, hard study sessions, hard choices. There is no version of a good life that doesn't require discomfort. None. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop being surprised by it and start being prepared for it. Here's something that helped me change my relationship with discomfort. I started thinking about it as information rather than a signal to stop. When something felt hard, I used to interpret that as my brain telling me it wasn't the right time, or I wasn't ready, or maybe this particular goal wasn't for me. Now I interpret it completely differently. Hard means important. Resistance means growth is available right here. Discomfort is a sign that I'm at the edge of my current capability, and that the edge is exactly where I need to be. So what do you do practically? You start training discomfort like it's a muscle. Because it is. Every day, deliberately do something that's slightly uncomfortable. Not painful, not extreme, just outside your comfort zone by a little. A cold shower in the morning. A hard conversation you've been avoiding all week. Saying no to a snack when you want it. Staying focused for an extra 30 minutes past when you wanted to stop. Sending the email you're nervous about. Having the boundary you've been too scared to set. Small doses of discomfort, practice daily, build an extraordinary tolerance over time. And then when real difficulty arrives, and it always does, you don't crumble. You don't panic. You don't run back to comfort. You look at it and think, I've been training for this. Every champion, every high achiever, every person you admire who seems to have it all together, they feel discomfort too. Every single day. The difference is they've trained themselves to move toward it instead of away from it. That's not a talent. That's a decision. And you can make it too. Rule number 3. Your environment is shaping you every single day, whether you design it or not. Here's a question most people never think to ask. Why is it so easy to eat junk food when it's in the house, but you never crave things you can't see? Why is it so easy to waste hours on your phone when it's in your hand, but productivity flows when it's in another room? Why do you work better at a clean desk than a messy one? Why does being around ambitious people make you more ambitious, and being around people who've given up make you feel like giving up too? The answer is your environment. Everything around you, the people, the spaces, the devices, the objects, even the sounds and smells, is constantly sending your brain signals. And your brain responds. Without your permission, without your awareness, just automatically, the way it was designed to. You are not as in control of your behavior as you think you are. Your surroundings are running the show far more than your willpower is. Most people try to fight their environment with willpower. They keep the cookies in the cabinet and try to resist them with sheer mental strength. They keep the phone on the desk and try to ignore it while working. They hang out with people who sleep until noon and try to be the one person who gets up early. They live in a messy, chaotic space and wonder why they can't think clearly. This is an exhausting, losing battle. Because willpower is finite. It depletes throughout the day. Every decision you make, every temptation you resist, draws from the same limited pool of mental energy. And when it runs out, your environment wins. Always. The smart move is not to fight your environment. It's to design it. Stop trying to be stronger than your surroundings. Start making your surroundings work for you. Put the junk food out of sight or out of the house entirely. Place the fruit on the counter. Put your phone in a different room while you work. Leave your gym bag by the front door. Set out your workout clothes the night before. Put the book on your pillow so you see it before you sleep. Place a water bottle on your desk so drinking water is the easiest thing in reach. Every one of these changes removes friction from good habits and adds friction to bad ones. And when something requires effort to do, you do it less. When something is effortless, you do it more. Use that psychology in your favor instead of fighting against it. Now let's talk about the people in your environment, because this might be the most important part. You have heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I used to think that was an exaggeration. It is not. The people around you set the standard for what's normal. They set the ceiling for what's acceptable. If everyone around you is comfortable being mediocre, average becomes your unconscious standard. You don't even have to decide to be average. You just drift there because that's where the gravity is pulling you. If your friends all complain about their jobs, but never do anything to change, complaining without action becomes normal. If the people around you spend money they don't have on things they don't need, financial recklessness starts feeling reasonable. If nobody in your circle reads, learns, or grows, growth starts feeling optional. You absorb the standards of the people closest to you whether you intend to or not. That's just how human beings are wired. This doesn't mean you abandon the people you care about, but it does mean you have to be intentional about who gets your time and your energy. Seek out people who are doing more than you. People who challenge you without you asking. People whose work ethic makes you feel like you need to step up just to keep up. That discomfort of being around people who are ahead of you. Use it. Let it pull you forward instead of shrinking away from it. Design your environment. Design your circle. And then watch how much easier discipline becomes when the world around you is working with you instead of against you. Rule number 4. The war is won or lost in the first 5 seconds. Picture your alarm going off tomorrow morning. It's early. It's dark. It's warm and comfortable under the covers. And the moment that alarm sounds, your brain immediately starts negotiating. Just 5 more minutes. You were up late. You need rest. You can work out tonight instead. You deserve a slow morning. It won't matter just this once. And those arguments feel completely reasonable in the moment. That's the trap. Because your brain is not trying to help you in that moment. Your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort. It is doing its job, keeping you safe and warm and comfortable. But that job is not compatible with growth. And if you let the negotiation happen, comfort wins almost every time. Because comfort doesn't have to win an argument. It just has to delay you long enough that the decision gets made by default. The entire battle of self-discipline, every single day, comes down to that tiny window between when you know you should do something and when your brain starts making the case against it. That window is about 5 seconds. 5 seconds before the excuses start. 5 seconds before the reasoning begins. 5 seconds before you've successfully talked yourself out of it. If you act within those 5 seconds, you win. If you wait, the negotiation begins. And once the negotiation begins, you've already lost most of your advantage. This is why so many people have good intentions that never become actions. They know what they should do. They even want to do it. But they pause, just for a second. And in that second, the mind rushes in with reasons and justifications and comfortable alternatives. And that's it. The moment is gone. The fix is not more willpower. The fix is speed. You act before the negotiation can start. You count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you physically move. Stand up. Pick up the phone to make the call. Open the laptop. Put your feet on the floor. The physical movement is what breaks the mental pattern. You don't think your way out of hesitation. You move your way out of it. And here's what makes this so powerful in practice. Once you're in motion, the resistance almost always dissolves. The hardest part of every hard thing is the 5 seconds right before you start. After that, it gets easier. Your brain adjusts. Your body adjusts. Momentum takes over. So your only job, your one and only job, is to win the first 5 seconds. That's it. Start practicing this everywhere. When you know you should get up, count down and stand. When you know you should start the task, count down and open it. When you know you should have the conversation, count down and begin talking. Build the reflex of immediate action, and eventually there's no space left for the negotiation to even begin. You become someone who moves when they know they should move. And that, more than any other single habit, will change your life. Rule number 5. If you are not tracking it, you are not serious about it. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You set a goal. You feel great about it. You start strong. A week goes by, 2 weeks, and then slowly, without even noticing, you drift. The goal is still there, in your head, in some notes app you haven't opened, in a journal from the first 3 days. But you're not moving toward it anymore. You're just existing near it. And at some point, you quietly let it go and tell yourself it wasn't that important anyway. This is the death cycle of vague goal setting. And the root cause is almost always the same. The goal was vague. The plan was vague. The progress was never measured. And when you can't see where you are, you can't know if you're moving. And when you can't know if you're moving, you stop. Because progress that isn't visible doesn't feel real. And things that don't feel real don't get prioritized. Think about the difference between these two statements. I want to get in shape. And I will work out 4 times a week for 45 minutes each session for the next 90 days, and I will mark each session in my calendar when it's done. The first one is a wish. The second one is a goal. The first one has no accountability built in. The second one has a clear standard you either meet or fail to meet. And the ability to fail, the ability to measure your performance against a real standard, is what creates the pressure that drives real change. Vague goals feel safe because you can never really fail them. You can always say you've been sort of working toward it. You've been trying. You've been thinking about it. But that safety is costing you everything. Because vague efforts produce vague results. Always. Without exception. Start tracking everything that matters to you. Your workouts, your sleep, your spending. The number of hours you actually spend in focused work versus the hours you spend pretending to work while distracted. Your daily habits, your weekly commitments, what you said you'd do and whether you did it. Write it down. Get it out of your head and onto paper where you can actually see it. Because here is what happens when you start measuring things. You become honest with yourself in a way that's uncomfortable and necessary. You realize you only worked out twice this week when you said you'd do 4 times. You realize you spent 3 hours on your phone yesterday when you thought it was 1. You realize the gap between who you think you are and what you're actually doing. And that gap is information. That gap is what you work with. You cannot close a gap you can't see. Here's one more thing about tracking that most people underestimate. The visual streak. Get a simple calendar and put a mark on every day you do the thing you committed to. Watch the chain grow. 10 days, 20 days, 30 days. Something psychological happens around that point. Breaking the chain starts to feel worse than doing the thing you didn't want to do. You will drag yourself out of bed and get it done not because you're full of motivation, but because you cannot bring yourself to break a 40-day streak. The accountability you feel to a chain of marks on a calendar is completely irrational and absolutely powerful. Measure your progress. Review it honestly every single week. Adjust. This is not boring. This is discipline in action. Rule number 6. You do not need to hustle harder. You need to rest smarter. I need to push back against something that has done enormous damage to an enormous number of people. The hustle at all costs mentality. The idea that sleep is for the weak. That if you're resting, someone else is getting ahead. That the path to success is to grind every waking hour until you've earned the right to rest someday in the far future. Here's what actually happens when you live by that mentality. You go hard for 2 weeks. You feel unstoppable, proud, like you're finally being the person you're supposed to be. And then the crash comes. Hard. Your productivity collapses completely. Your mood tanks. Everything feels impossible and overwhelming. You sleep for 12 hours and still feel exhausted. You can't concentrate on anything. You're irritable. You eat badly. You skip every single commitment you made to yourself. The guilt rolls in. You feel like you're failing, like you're lazy, like you have no discipline at all. And then after a few days of that, You push yourself back into hustle mode to compensate, and the whole cycle repeats. That is not discipline. That is chaos with a highlight reel. And it is unsustainable. It will not build the life you want. It will burn you out before you get there. The most genuinely high-performing people in the world are obsessive about recovery. Not because they're soft, but because they understand that performance requires recovery the same way a muscle requires rest to grow. You don't build the muscle during the workout. You build it during the recovery. You don't consolidate learning during the study session. You consolidate it during sleep. Your brain, your body, and your emotional resilience all require recovery to function at their best. Without it, everything degrades. Your focus weakens. Your willpower weakens. Your decision-making weakens. Your discipline weakens. Sleep-deprived people have been shown in study after study to have significantly reduced impulse control, meaning the less you sleep, the harder it is to resist temptation, the harder it is to make good decisions, the harder it is to stay disciplined. So if you are cutting sleep to hustle more, you are literally making discipline harder for yourself every single day. You are sabotaging the very thing you're trying to build. Protect your sleep like it's the most important meeting of the day, because it is. 7 to 9 hours. Consistent bedtime. A dark, cool room. No screens in the final hour. This isn't optional. This is the foundation everything else is built on. Beyond sleep, structure your rest deliberately. Work in focused blocks, roughly 90 minutes of genuine, deep, distraction-free effort, followed by a real break. Not a break where you scroll social media and let your brain get overwhelmed with stimulus. A real break. A short walk. Some water. A few minutes outside. Something that genuinely allows your mind to decompress. And then back to work. This is the rhythm your brain is designed for. Working with it instead of against it will make you more productive in fewer hours than grinding endlessly ever will. Rest is not a reward you earn when all the work is done. Rest is a component of the system that makes the work possible. Build it in intentionally, protect it fiercely, and your capacity to sustain discipline over months and years will be completely different. Rule number 7. Your future self is a real person. Start treating them that way. I want you to do something for me right now. Picture yourself 5 years from now. Really try. Where do you live? What does your body look like? What work are you doing? What do your mornings feel like? What have you built? What do you feel when you think about the life you're living? Now ask yourself, with complete honesty, are the choices you're making today building that person? Or are they slowly making that person impossible? Because here is one of the most fascinating and deeply uncomfortable findings in modern psychology. When researchers scanned people's brains and asked them to think about their future selves, the areas of the brain that activated were the same areas that activate when thinking about a complete stranger. Not a friend, not a family member, a stranger. Your own brain, on a neurological level, does not fully recognize your future self as you. It treats them as someone else, someone distant, someone whose problems feel abstract and not quite real. And that explains almost everything. It explains why it's so easy to eat badly today. Future you will deal with the health consequences. It explains why it's so easy to skip saving money. Future you will figure out the finances somehow. It explains why it's so easy to procrastinate today. Future you will have more time, more energy, a better mindset. It's so easy to make bad choices in the present because the person who pays the price feels like someone else. But that person is not someone else. That person is you. And they are going to inherit every single thing you do today. Every skipped commitment. Every wasted hour. Every broken promise to yourself. Every time you chose the easy thing over the right thing. Future you gets all of it. And they have no choice but to deal with it, carry it, and try to move forward anyway. Meanwhile, every disciplined choice you make today, every hard thing done well, that's a gift. That's fuel. That's an advantage you're handing to the person you're going to become. Think of every choice as either a gift or a debt to your future self. When you work out today, you're giving future you a stronger, healthier body. When you learn something today, you're giving future you more capability. When you save money today, you're giving future you more freedom and options. But when you waste today, you're running up a tab. And that tab comes due. It always does. So I want this question to become a reflex for you. Before any significant choice, to skip something, to indulge something, to put something off, ask yourself one thing. What would my future self think of this decision? Not in a guilt-tripping way, just as a genuine check. If future you could see this moment, right now, Would they be grateful? Would they say, "Thank you for that, I really needed that"? Or would they shake their head and wish you had chosen differently? Let that question slow you down before the easy path. Let it remind you that your choices today are not just about today. They are investments or debts in the life that's coming whether you're ready or not. And one final practice I want to leave you with. Write a letter to your future self. Tonight, if you can. Sit down with a piece of paper and write to the person you want to be in 1 year. Tell them what you're choosing to start. Tell them what you're committing to stop. Tell them what kind of person you're deciding to become. Be specific. Be honest. Be brave enough to put it in writing. Seal that letter. Put it somewhere safe. And for the next 12 months, every single day, let the question guide you. Am I honoring what I wrote, or am I betraying it? That letter is a contract between who you are right now and who you want to be. Take it seriously, because the person on the other end of it is real, and they deserve your very best today. Let me bring all of this together, because we've covered a lot of ground, and I want you to leave with these rules clear in your mind. Rule 1. Stop waiting for motivation. It follows action. It never leads it. Start before you feel ready, and the feeling will come after. Rule 2. Discomfort is not your enemy. Comfort is. Every time you choose the easy path, you weaken yourself. Every time you choose the hard path, you build something real. Rule 3. Your environment is shaping you whether you design it or not. Stop fighting your surroundings and start engineering them. Remove friction from good habits. Add friction to bad ones. Surround yourself with people who pull you upward. Rule 4. The battle is won or lost in the first 5 seconds. Act before your brain builds the case against you. Count down. Move. Every single time. Rule 5. If you're not tracking it, you're not serious about it. Make your goals specific. Measure your progress. Review honestly. Adjust relentlessly. Rule 6. Rest is not weakness. Chaos is weakness. Build genuine recovery into your system. Protect your sleep. Work in focused blocks. Sustainable discipline beats spectacular burnout every single time. Rule 7. Your future self is real. They will live with every choice you're making today. Give them something worth inheriting. None of this is easy. If it were, everyone would do it, and the world would look completely different. But you're not everyone. You watched this all the way through. You chose to sit with uncomfortable truths instead of looking away. And that already says something about who you are. The hardest part of self-discipline is never the big dramatic moments. It's the thousands of tiny, invisible moments every single day, when nobody is watching, nothing is forcing you, and you have to choose between the easy thing and the right thing. That quiet, unseen choice is where character is built. That's where discipline lives. Not in the highlight reel. In the moments nobody else sees. And I promise you this. Every time you choose right in that silent moment, something changes. You become a little more of the person you're trying to be. A little more trustworthy to yourself. A little more capable. A little more certain that you can do what you said you would do. Start today, not Monday, not next month, not when things are calmer or you feel more ready. Today, right now, one decision, one commitment, one act of discipline that nobody sees but you. Your future self is already waiting. Don't make them wait any longer.